Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. In this video, we're going to talk about the product rule. Alright. But before we get started about talking about the product rule, we first need to talk about what is an exponent. Okay. So if I write an expression that looks like this, a raised to a power of n, so it's written up a little higher, then this is called an exponential expression. Where n is the exponent and a is what we call the base. Now, the base is the number that's being multiplied, and the exponent is how many times you're going to multiply that number. So if I have a to the 5th power, that means I want to multiply a 5 times. So a times a times a times a times a. Those dots stand for multiplication. And so the exponent basically just tells you how many times you want to multiply the base. And that's what an exponent is. For our first example, what we want to do is write 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 in exponential form. So we just want to take this and write it as a base with an exponent. So our base is the number that's being multiplied, which is 3. And then our exponent is how many times we're multiplying it. We're multiplying it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So our exponent is 4. And so that's how you will write 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 in exponential form. In example 2, we want to evaluate the following. So we have 3 different exponential expressions here, and we want to evaluate each of them. They all look the same, but they're all actually different. So this first one says we want to take we want to take positive 2, and we want to multiply it 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So this comes out to be 8. Alrighty. Now this expression says that we only want to raise 2 to the 3rd power. The only thing being raised to this power is the 2. So that negative will stay right there in the front by itself. And so this is 2 times 2 times 2 with only that one negative in the front. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And then we still have that negative in the front. So that's negative 8. Or you could look at it as negative 2 times 2, which is negative 4. Negative 4 times 2, which is negative 8. So our answer here would be negative 8. Now this one, because the negative is in parentheses, this is saying that you want to take negative 2 and multiply it 3 times. So that's negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Okay. So now in this example, the thing that's really important is that these two expressions are totally different. Now in this example, we actually got the same answer on both of those, so it really wouldn't matter, but that is not always the case. In some cases, these answers might come out to be different, which will make a totally big difference in your solution. So the thing is, if the negative is not in the parentheses, then you're going to end up with a negative solution. If the negative is inside the parentheses, you can either end up getting a negative or a positive solution. And the thing that lets you know whether it's going to be negative or positive is based on the exponent. If the exponent is odd and it's in parentheses, you're going to get a negative solution. If the exponent is even, then you'll end up with a positive solution if that negative is in parentheses. So for example, just really quickly, it didn't ask us this, but I just want to show you. If it would have said negative 2 to the 4th, that would have been negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Times negative 2 is negative 8. Times negative 2 is positive 16. So that negative was in parentheses and that exponent was even. So we ended up with a positive solution. All right. So the big thing is the placement of the negative. If the negative is not in parentheses, then you don't raise that negative to the power. If the negative is in parentheses, then you raise it to that exponent. So now we actually want to get to what the product rule is. Though the product rule is a rule that tells you how to multiply 2 exponential expressions together. So for example, if I had 2 to the 4th times 2 to the 3rd, then 2 to the 4th means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And 2 to the 3rd means 2 times 2 times 2, 3 times. Well, how many times am I multiplying 2? I'm multiplying 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is equivalent to 2 to the 7th power. Well, how do I get 7 from these two numbers, 4 and 3? Well, I add those two numbers together. And so that gives me my product rule. So my product rule says a to the m times a to the n. So if I'm multiplying two exponential expressions and the bases are the same, then I can combine those by adding the two exponents. So this here is the product rule. So whenever you're multiplying two exponential expressions with the same base, then you combine them together by adding the exponents. That's the product rule. Okay, this is the last example we're going to work for the product rule, and it has multiple parts. So it's actually 5 different examples in one, because what we want to do is simplify each expression using the product rule. So we only want to simplify using the product rule. We don't have to work it out completely. So for example, we're multiplying 6 to the 3rd times 6 to the 5th. So since my bases are the same, these two can be combined by adding the exponents. So this becomes 6 to the 8. So for this problem, it only wants us to stop there, but you can actually calculate 6 to the 8th by multiplying 6 8 times and see what you get. But this just wants us to practice actually using the product rule, okay? For part B, we have -4 to the 7 times -4 to the 2nd. The bases are the same, so we can combine them by adding the exponent. So that becomes -4. So if you want to write it out, -4 to the 7 plus 2, which is -4. Oops, that's supposed to be -4. -4 to the 7 plus 2, which is -4 to the 9th power. So that would be our solution, -4 to the 9th power. All right, x to the 2nd times x. There's no exponent, which means there's an understood exponent of 1 there. So in order to combine those, that'll be x to the 2 plus 1, which is x to the 3rd power. So when there's no exponent written, there's an understood exponent of 1. So you would add the 2 and the 1 to get 3. Even if you have more than one product, as long as the base is the same, you can combine them all. So we have m to the 4th times m to the 3rd times m to the 5th. So all you do is add those exponents. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. So this becomes m to the 12th power. All right, now this one is a little bit different. It has the same bases here. So this is saying x to the 3rd and this is saying x to the 7th, but it has these numbers in front. And so this is still multiplying. So what you would do is you would multiply those numbers. So you will multiply the 2 and the 3, and then you put the x to the 3rd and the x to the 7th together. So what's 2 times 3? 2 times 3 is 6. And then you can combine those two since they have the same base by adding the exponent. So that becomes x to the 10th power. So this is 6x to the 10th power. That's an exponent. So that would be your final simplified form of this. All right. And so this is how you use the product rule. If you have any questions about the product rule, feel free to put them in the comments below. If this video was helpful, hit the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.